Okay, if you're a commercial property manager in California, you already know the job. You're trying to keep your sites safe, compliant, and looking great. But let's be honest, it often feels like you're fighting a constant battle against surprise hazards and costs that pop out of nowhere, right? It's less about managing and more about just controlling the chaos. So, what if you could actually escape that cycle for good? Let's get into it.
Does this sound familiar? I mean, you spend weeks planning your OPEX, your CAPEX, getting everything just right, and then bam, one unexpected repair, one slip and trip, and the whole thing is just blown to pieces. It is, without a doubt, the number one frustration we hear from managers. And you know what? That's the perfect way to think about it. It's a budget black hole. All that carefully planned money just vanishes into this void of unpredictable emergencies, and you're left with zero control and, frankly, a whole lot of stress.
So let's really dive into this dilemma. We're talking about that constant, low-level anxiety, that nagging feeling that you're always just one phone call away from the next big problem. And it usually starts small, doesn't it? A little root heath pushing up a sidewalk panel, a few cracks over here. These might seem like minor maintenance notes, but they're not. They are the seeds of your biggest, most expensive potential liabilities. This right here really connects the dots between those day-to-day headaches and what they actually cost you. When your budgets are unpredictable, you've lost control of your expenses, plain and simple. Those recurring trip hazards, that's where your highest severity claims are born. And this last one, poor vendor documentation, this is huge. It leaves you totally exposed because in the eyes of an insurer or a courtroom, if it wasn't professionally documented, it might as well have never happened. And all of this leads directly into what we call the reactive repair trap. It's this vicious cycle of only fixing things after they break. And believe me, it is a losing strategy. Now, this is maybe the most important mindset shift you can make. You can't stop tree roots from growing. You can't stop concrete from aging. Hazards are going to happen. That's a fact. But what you can do is stop them from turning into bank-breaking claims. So the first problem with this reactive trap is just pure financial chaos. Your budget stops being a plan, and it becomes a slush fund, just waiting for the next emergency repair bill, the next lawyer's demand letter, or that shocking insurance premium increase. There is zero predictability.
And the second problem, which is just as critical, is that you're left with a really weak liability defense. When an incident happens, your owner, your insurer, they're all going to ask for one thing: proof. Proof you were looking for hazards, proof you fixed them properly. And a one-off invoice from some random vendor, that's just not going to cut it. This slide just lays it all out. In the reactive world, what actually makes you take action? A slip and trip incident happens. A demand letter shows up from an attorney. Your insurance premiums go through the roof. You see the pattern here? Action is only taken after the damage is done. And that is always the most expensive and the most stressful time to act. So how do you get out of the trap? Well, you need a completely new playbook, a proactive system that is built from the ground up to give you predictable control over your sites, your risks, and your budget. So how does it actually work? Well, the heart of it is the Trip Hazard Annual Service Plan. Step 1, we're on your site twice a year, finding and documenting every single trip hazard. Step 2, we fix them using state-of-the-art methods. Step 3 is your safety net. You get 4 extra emergency calls a year, just in case something unexpected pops up. And step 4, which is the real game changer, we repeat the whole process, so hazards never get a chance to build up again. All right, this brings us to the moment of truth. Let's put these two ways of thinking side by side and see what the real payoff is when you decide to go proactive. And this slide says it all, doesn't it? The reactive approach on the left is pure chaos. You're constantly putting out fires, chasing down paperwork, and your liability defense is full of holes. But on the right, the proactive approach brings order. It's a reliable shield of safety, you get clear professional documentation, and a rock-solid defense that actually protects the asset. It's a total shift from constant crisis to predictable control. I love this quote because it just cuts right to the chase. This is what property managers want. It's not complicated. They want simplicity, predictability, and defensibility. Give me a report that makes my insurer happy and a number I can plug into my budget. That's it. But what if we could take that documentation and that defense to a whole other level? That's where advanced site intelligence comes into play, creating an even stronger, more visual line of defense for you. Yeah, we use drones. We can create this defensible visual timeline of your property's condition over time. And it's not just for liability. This gives you incredibly accurate 3D models for smarter project planning. And you get these stunning before and after visuals to show ownership exactly where their money is going and the value you're creating.
So, let's bring this all back to where we started. It really is time to escape that budget black hole. It's time to take your next step toward predictable, manageable site safety. And this is the most important takeaway of all. Shifting to a proactive model isn't about adding another expense to your budget. It's about making a smart investment, an investment that gives you a clear return by cutting down on claims, keeping insurance premiums stable, and ultimately protecting the asset. So, in the end, it really boils down to this one simple choice. Do you want reactive chaos or do you want proactive control? The path you choose is going to define everything: your budget, your legal defense, and maybe most importantly, how you spend your most valuable asset, your time.